father, for I have said.
And the guy your dad replaced? He's off his meds. He's erratic.
It's not worth saving, and you know it. He will protect his children. Coming to me off the back of somebody else's.
Hidden in The Exorcism's first 10 minutes, a clue that predicts the ending. Missed it? Let's blow your mind. The film begins with an actor rehearsing his lines. In the movie, he plays a priest tasked with performing an exorcism on a girl. As he reads sacred verses from the script, the lights on the set suddenly start flickering and the room begins to shake. Without warning, an invisible entity attacks the actor, killing him instantly. The scene then shifts to Lee and her father, Anthony. Anthony is a drug addict, and because of his addiction, his relationship with his daughter is strained. She doesn't even call him dad. This all began after Anthony's wife died. Before the accident, Anthony was an actor, but afterward he became addicted to drugs and abandoned his career. After spending 2 years in a rehabilitation center, Anthony becomes more stable. He starts getting acting offers again and is cast in the role of the actor we saw die earlier. Excited, Anthony goes to church and confesses that he has made many mistakes. Since his wife's death, he has ruined his family, fallen into addiction, and distanced himself from his daughter. Now, he wants to fix everything, return to work, reconnect with his daughter, and give peace to his wife's soul. Back home, Anthony talks with Lee about work. Since Lee doesn't have a job, she becomes his assistant. Once filming starts, Lee accompanies him to the set, where she meets the lead actress, Blake, and befriends her. Blake shows Lee around the set, and when they pass by an area with 2 robots, one of them sparks strangely upon seeing Lee. During shooting, Anthony discusses his character with the on-set priest. While talking about Bible verses, Anthony's nose starts bleeding, but he dismisses it as a side effect of his medication. That day's filming goes smoothly, and Anthony returns home with Lee. Later that night, while using her phone, Lee hears strange noises from a lounge. She finds a locked door, hears the kitchen tap turn on by itself, and then notices the previously locked door is now open. Nobody is inside. As she prepares to return to her room, she sees Anthony in the corridor, mumbling to himself. She playfully grabs and tickles him, startling him briefly. Assuming he was just sleepwalking, they both left it at that. The next day on set, Anthony struggles with his lines, angering the director, who tells him to remember the worst moments of his life to capture the right expression. This triggers a flashback to Anthony's childhood in a convent, where a priest abused the children. When Anthony looks at his script again, he finds drawings of demons and a threatening message. Anthony, no one can save you from me. Searching his drawer, Anthony finds a crucifix, which triggers another flashback to his childhood, when he had a similar one. Lee asks why he can't deliver the Bible verses properly, and Anthony admits he doesn't feel able to speak holy words. Lee encourages him to believe in God and himself. Feeling dizzy, Anthony excuses himself but goes to the basement instead of his room. Suspicious, Lee follows and hears noises from the basement bathroom. She records the scene, but her phone falls. Picking it up, she sees Anthony bathing and urinating with completely white eyes, staring at her with malice. Terrified, Lee watches him leave the basement, still glaring at her, before he returns to normal. In the washroom, Anthony ignores her pleas to see a doctor. Black marks briefly appear on his body before vanishing. On set, his coworkers criticize his performance, frustrating him further. That night, Lee discusses the strange events with the priest. Initially skeptical, she now believes something supernatural is happening. When she gets home, Anthony is already there, injured and bleeding. She accuses him of drinking again and declares she won't stay with him anymore. Enraged, Anthony shouts so loudly that all the glass objects in the room shatter. Confronting her, he says she has nowhere to go and must stay with him. When Lee tells him to stay away, he responds chillingly, "I am not Anthony." The next day, Lee brings her concerns to the priest and plays him the bathroom recording. The priest is alarmed to hear Anthony calling upon the demon Moloch. He warns her to stay home while he researches the matter. That night, Anthony suffers while the priest senses a dark energy nearby. Another flashback reveals the abuse Anthony suffered as a child, including the priest carving an inverted crucifix on his head as part of demon worship. During filming, Anthony again fails to deliver his lines. Furious, he throws his crucifix, storms down the stairs, and begins twisting his body unnaturally. His eyes turn completely white, and when Lee calls to him, he again says, "I am not Anthony." He violently smashes his head against the table. The director replaces him, but Anthony kills the replacement actor by stabbing him in the eye with a glass. Filming is halted. Blake, distressed, goes home with Lee, only for Anthony to attack them both. When they tell him to leave, he jumps out the window, but vanishes instead of falling. They rush to the priest, who explains Anthony is possessed by Moloch and will be found where the possession began. Is said. Lee finds a Bible, but Anthony appears behind her. She reads a verse aloud, but the demon recites it with her, unaffected, claiming such words no longer work on him. Lee begs him to leave Anthony, but the demon says he has been dying for years and attacks her. Lee presses a crucifix to his head, weakening him and freeing Blake and the priest from his paralysis. The priest then offers himself as a host, and the demon accepts, leaving Anthony's body. A flashback reveals that the demon targeted Anthony because of his childhood abuse and trauma, which made him vulnerable. Back in the present, Anthony picks up the crucifix and recites Bible verses with complete faith, having overcome his trauma. This time, the verses hurt the demon, forcing it to leave the priest. Final scene, Anthony and Lee are shown living normal lives. Anthony attends church daily, while Lee writes about their ordeal, planning to turn it into a film that first 10 minutes. The flickering lights and sudden attack during the actor's exorcism scene foreshadow that the real possession will happen off camera, hinting early on that Anthony will later be taken over by the demon Moloch. If this recap changed your mind, The Exorcism, smash like. If it didn't, fight me in the comments. Be subscribed to enjoy more movies. Our next one might ruin your childhood.